Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to check out another brand new TNG release as we've got another dinosaur here finally to take a look at. We have the Parasaurolophus, and this is a really cool looking one, definitely one that I was hyped for because I feel like it has a strong resemblance to like a Lost World Jurassic Park style Parasaurolophus. The coloration just looks very similar, not exact, definitely some differences, but very similar overall. But you can see again the box art features the nice image there of the figure. You can also see the TNG logo, and then of course Parasaurolophus, the species name, up here on the top, just TNG. And then here on the side, you have some information on the species, as they usually put a little bit of info over here on the side just to kind of teach you about the dinosaur a little bit. And then you have your basic information and everything here on the bottom, and you turn it around, pretty much the same thing going on over here. So very, very nice, very professional, high quality box. But of course, what we're most interested in is what lies within the box, so let's break it open and check it out. And here is our Parasaurolophus, and that is an absolute beauty. Definitely another really, really nice paint job. Again, well, first of all, the sculpt is fantastic, but the paint jobs of these TNG models are seriously crazy good. Like, I'm so blown away now each and every time, because it's one of the first things that I really kind of try to take in when it comes to these figures is the paint job, because I've been so impressed with their paint jobs up until this point that I'm always very interested to see what the paint job looks like. And this is, again, really well done. Definitely a very nice paint job. You can see lots of variation of color, and you can also see again how it kind of resembles a Lost World Jurassic Park Parasaurolophus, but they've definitely added in their own touch to kind of give it their own individuality, their own version of it. But wow, what a really gorgeous looking figure. Seriously, quite the looker, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look at this brand new TNG Parasaurolophus right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Parasaurolophus, you can see we have some really nice looking skin texture here throughout the face of the dinosaur. You can also see the mouth is sculpted really nicely. We have the beak sculpted out. And I like that you almost have a little bit of a grin there in the mouth of the Parasaurolophus. You can also see the nostrils are sculpted quite nicely. We have the crest, of course, and the detailing within the crest looks beautiful here as you move along. And there's a really nice kind of a dark tone. Actually, I would say a few variations potentially of darker tones of brown in the crest, but it also has kind of a nice glossy look, so that crest stands out pretty much as perfectly as you would like. Look at that from the side. You can really see how nice that kind of satin finish that they've given it helps that area to stand out. You can also see that the detailing there around the eye looks really good. We have a nice black eye for the Parasaurolophus, given a nice gloss coat as well to give it that realistic eye shine. I think that's a very nice coloration. It didn't really need much more than that. No flashy colors in the eye or anything. It looks pretty good as far as that goes. And you can also see quite a bit of variation of color here in the face, as you have all sorts of tones of browns, as well as this kind of lighter tone here leading down from the cheek into the throat. As you begin to move down here into the neck, you start to pick up on quite a bit of different variations of colors, as you have darker browns that kind of stripe down. You've also got some yellowish tones, some, slightly lighter browns, and then, of course, the lighter tone here of the underside. And you can see a really smooth transition as you move down to the underside of the throat. And I really like the entire appearance to this. Like, that really nice turn in the head looks so good right there. You can see the throat itself here moving along the underside of the Parasaurolophus, a little hint of yellow right there. But you can see again the twist in the neck is really nicely captured here when it comes to the movement of the skin. That looks really beautiful right there. You can also see tensing in the neck as you move down. As we lead down into the body, you can make out the shoulder blade right there. You can also see that we start to pick up on tons of variation of color, as we've got like yellows, oranges, browns, all kinds of coloration here as you move down into the body. It looks super cool, super realistic. Some more really nice looking skin texture as you continue to move down, especially right here behind the front limb here, as it's kind of scrunching the skin up right there. But as you move down, you've got the muscle definition. You can see the elbow right there. And then as you move down into the foot sculpt of the Parasaurolophus, that looks really nice as well. You can see the nails have been kind of painted with like a yellowish tone, but you can see the wrist and everything looks really nice there, as we have a slight turn in the wrist. Very, very nicely done as far as that goes. But as you move back up here into the stomach region, you can see the skin kind of, wrinkling and stuff right there in the front of the thigh as it's pushing into the stomach, and you can again see as we lead up a little bit of girth in the stomach region of the dinosaur. Not a whole lot. It looks still pretty slender, but Definitely looks like it's got a nice meal or two in it. As you continue to move along, the skin texture continues to look very impressive. Like lots of really nice kind of creases and cracks and crevices through the course of the skin texture, almost elephant-like skin texture, which looks really nice. You've got some creasing here in front of the thigh here, well, actually in front of the hip, I should say. As you move back, you can make out the hip right there. We have some nice striping leading down the thigh. And I really like the skin texture here in the thigh. I think that as well, again, looks very elephant-like, but very impressive in general. The detailing of this is pretty much off the charts. As you move down, you've got the kneecap right there, and you have a nice big bulging calf muscle. We continue to have that striping effect leading along the front of the shin. You can again see a smooth transition as you move back to that lighter tone. And then as you move down into the foot sculpt here, you can see that we have a nice variation. Actually, it looks like maybe two variations of browns as you lead down into the foot sculpt. The nails almost look like they're unpainted. I don't know if they're specifically made to look that way or if maybe we just didn't get paint. And you can actually see over here, this one here also kind of looks unpainted. So maybe something TNG could definitely work on in the future is making sure the nails are painted, because even though I still think it looks okay like this, I really would have preferred more obvious nail paint for the toenails. I just feel like it would have stood out a little bit better, made it look a little bit better. But as you lead back up here, you can continue to see again that the skin texture looks really nice. You've got some more kind of creasing back here behind the thigh, and you again have that dark stripe running down along the back. You can obviously see the spinal column here moving along the back of the dinosaur as well. And you lead out and you've got a really nice curve to the tail. Very nice elegant curve here as it leads out in almost a snake-like sort of fashion. As we lead along the underside, we continue to have that light tone. You can see the cloaca is present here. It's been highlighted actually with a yellowish tone, which was an interesting choice. But as you continue to move along here, look at how nice that detailing looks on the underside of that Parasaurolophus. Really, really good stuff. Like beautiful, beautiful detailing. You can see some more creasing here as you lead up into the chest, leading into the front limbs there. That looks really nice. And of course, our Parasaurolophus is kind of going to be turning away from us when we look at it from the opposing side, because there is a nice turn to the neck and head that you can very obviously see. And you can see again how it's turning away from us. The head looks really nice. The paintwork all looks very nice and precise up there. You can continue to see kind of like some tensing here in the neck as you move down. Again, lots of creasing and skin texture galore. You've got this beautiful kind of like striping leading down here with this really nice kind of almost like a reddish brown sort of tone moving down the back of the neck. And then as you lead down, you can see the front limb here is in pretty much the same position as we see on the opposing side, not too far off as far as that one goes, maybe slightly closer to the body. We do see a little more of the stomach region over here, more so than we saw on the other side, because the leg's trailing on this side, giving us a better opportunity to really, check out the detailing as well as the paintwork over here. You can see the skin kind of stretching off of the stomach right there. And as we continue to move along, you can see the, hip bone, you can see the creasing in front of the thigh and hip, and you can see again that striping effect as we move down the course of the thigh. I will say those stripes are really nicely applied with an airbrush, very naturalistic paint application on this. And then you move down into the foot sculpt, again, that looks really nice. It almost looks like the dinosaur was walking and it just took a moment to kind of stop and then rear up on its hind legs. It looks like it was probably walking on all fours and then reared up on its hind legs because both feet are planted, so it looks like it was walking, but it took a moment to kind of stop and look around. And you can also see that again with the turn in the head and neck, and of course the positioning of the limbs here in the front just kind of held into the body. Definitely gives me that vibe. It doesn't look like it's walking along currently. It looks like it's just kind of surveying the area, which is a pretty cool pose. I think that looks nice. But as we lead out again, the paintwork looks fantastic. The sculpt looks fantastic as we lead out with that really nice curve in the tail. But this is a really nice looking Parasaurolophus, especially if you like that kind of Lost World Jurassic Park sort of look, which I love. It's definitely nice in that aspect as well, because even though it's not the exact same coloration, it's pretty similar as a whole. But really, really beautiful figure yet again. And this is the first time we've had a herbivore as far as a dinosaur goes in the TNG line, so that as well is really quite exciting. As far as a size goes, for a length from the tail to the snout, you are looking at about 9¼ inches or around 23.5 centimeters. And then for a height to the top of the crest, just shy of about 4 3/4 inches, or around the 12 centimeter mark, somewhere in that area. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line standing next to our TNG Parasaurolophus. And you can definitely see next to these figures here, it has a pretty impressive size. It's probably one of the larger TNG figures we've had. Of course, the Spinosaurus would definitely be larger, but I think this one would probably be second in line as far as, just overall body mass goes. But for a comparison next to the PNSO Parasaurolophus, you can see again that the PNSO version is obviously a bit larger. The TNG version's not quite as large, but they do look pretty cool together, even if they don't have exactly the same style. They look like they could be, a pretty cool member of like a giant herd of Parasaurolophus. But for another comparison, we have the usual randoms that we bring in. Let's actually move this back a little bit, but you can see we have the Collectae Dimetrodon, the Schleich Diabloceratops, and the Safari Ltd. Utyrannus next to our TNG Parasaurolophus, showing you that again the Parasaurolophus is larger than everybody here that's standing next to it. We also have a Mattel Velociraptor here standing in for another comparison, just to continue to show you again that even though it's not quite as large as the PNSO Parasaurolophus, it does still have a pretty good size to it. Then we have the TNG Woolly Mammoth here for another comparison, showing you two of the larger TNG figures that are out currently. Kind of looks like maybe the Mammoth is a little bit bigger, but I still feel like I would give the size aspect to the Parasaurolophus. We also have the recently released How Long Good Ouranosaurus here for a comparison next to the Parasaurolophus. But to continue to move along, here is a Mojo Fun Parasaurolophus next to the TNG version, if you happen to have that particular version of the Parasaurolophus. We've also got the recently released Cryolophosaurus from TNG next to the Parasaurolophus, just to check out, a few dinosaurs from the TNG line here next to each other. And then for one final comparison, we have the Collectae Hadrosaurus next to our Parasaurolophus, just to iron out one final comparison, again with a few different random figures. I was going to try to find the Papo Parasaurolophus to bring in for a comparison as well, but I have absolutely no idea where I put that, so we'll just have to deal with the comparison pieces that I had. But if you guys do want to see that comparison, once I find the figure and I dig it out, I can definitely throw it up in the community section or something like that for you. So this brand new TNG Parasaurolophus is another really nice looking dinosaur from that line. Definitely cool to see them kind of heading back into the dinosaurs. We started out with a Spinosaurus, and then there was also a Quetzalcoatlus, which isn't a dinosaur, but obviously it's something that at least lived at the same time as the dinosaurs. And then we kind of went, south as well, maybe not south. I'm not sure what direction you would consider the mammals. We went forward in time because we were really getting a lot of prehistoric mammals after that. And we had a ton of them, which is not a bad thing at all. It's a great thing because I love prehistoric mammals and we just don't get enough of them. But now we seem to be returning back to the dinosaurs, as we have had now a Cryolophosaurus and a Parasaurolophus. Hoping and praying that we get so many more dinosaurs. Like, there were a bunch of them that they had shown off, like a T-Rex, a Giganotosaurus, and stuff like that, and all of a sudden they just disappeared off of every listing that I see online. I don't know if they've canceled those, or if it's just because they're not going to be released for a while, or what, but definitely keeping my fingers crossed that we get those, because I really wanted to see more from this line. But you can see, again, this Parasaurolophus looks really nice. We again have that kind of Lost World Jurassic Park sort of look for this one, but at the same time, not so much. It has kind of a similar look as far as the coloration goes, but at the same time, the tones of color are a bit different. The overall design is a bit different. It does look great, though, as far as what they've given it here. The coloration looks very nice, very natural as a whole. It's all super smooth as far as the actual application goes, and they've added in a ton of different variation of color on this just to make it look extremely striking, but extremely realistic. The pose as well is really nice. As I said earlier in the review, I feel like it looks like the Parasaurolophus was kind of walking along on all fours, in a quadruped pose, and then just took a moment to kind of stand up and look around. Maybe it's just, reaching up into a tree to get something to eat or something, but I feel like it just kind of, maybe it heard a noise and it stopped, and now it's just kind of surveying the area. It really gives me that feeling. This would be a really cool figure to have in a diorama with like a theropod hiding off in the distance in like the tree line or something, and then of course the Parasaurolophus here is just kind of looking around trying to see if it's safe. Definitely a really cool pose. I like the fact that it has life to the pose, almost creates a scene for the figure, which is also really cool. The fine detail of the sculpt as well is fantastic. Extremely highly detailed as always when it comes to a TNG release. The only minor nitpick I have for this one is I would have liked to have seen the paintwork for the nails a little bit better, because it's kind of like on the front feet it looks like the nails are painted, but then when you look at it from the side it kind of looks like maybe they're not, but when you get to the rear legs it really looks like they're not. So maybe just some more obvious paintwork for the nails on this one would have been nice. But as a whole, it's an absolutely beautiful Parasaurolophus, and definitely a figure worth picking up. So if you are interested in grabbing this, I will include a link in the description to where you can do that on Lana Time Shop. So make sure you check those links on Lana Time Shop where I purchased mine. So make sure you check that link. Go grab yourself this beautiful Parasaurolophus, and also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.